Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Sunday, June 2nd, 2024. Big news in Mexico. First female president in the country's history. And of course, just 2 nights ago, the big headline was that Michelle Obama's mother passed away. And go back and watch our first TFR after Joe Biden took office. We thought he might be leaving office this weekend, but that's not quite exactly how it's unfolding. It's just there was a big sign for how this exact time period where all these things are happening lined up with Biden and Kamala taking office. And we're going to get to the sports stuff. But again, I just got to remind everybody, if you've never seen it before, go back and listen to Gerald Ford, the president who replaced Nixon, 38th U.S. president. Gerald Ford, he said at the Herbert Hoover Library in answering a little girl's question, she said, "Mr. President, when will we finally get a female president?" And he said, "Well, here, let me tell you, little girl, how it's going to happen. There's going to be an old man who's the president, and he's going to have a young woman who's the VP, and he's going to die in office, and she's going to become president. That's how it's going to happen." And again, the crazy thing about him saying that in the Herbert Hoover Library is that the day Herbert Hoover died is the exact day that Kamala Harris was born. So if you missed the video on the news channel about the passing of Obama's mother, go back and check that out. But today's 1,229 days after Joe Biden and Kamala took office. That's the 201st prime. So, yeah, again, coming back to the sports thing, which is what this Sunday night stream is going to be about. I wanted to do other things today. I wanted to cover the Mexico thing and the fire in California and the shooting in Akron, but we've had power problems today. I'm glad it came back on. It's funny. I was just about to send out a message to people on Patreon that I don't think power is coming back on. We'll just do it tomorrow. And like, right as I was about to submit the thing, the power, the lights came on. I said, "Oh, all right, here we go." Better late than never. So anyway, with regards to the sports thing, we've started a contest on the Patreon. This was week 2. Last week we had a 3-way tie for first place. This week we just have one winner, and I love the way that the winner played this week. He went with exactly my line: get base hits every day, take smart picks. You don't have to win a ton. It's just about winning day after day. And he just put together a consistently winning week. Everybody else was taking huge long shot odds trying to win it in one day, which is an incredible thing. And again, the guy just going for base hits all day. He wasn't worried about that this guy might score 10 points today or this guy might score 15, 20. He was just going for one. And he chalked them up all week, and he ended up on top. So this week's winner is the 646 area code. And again, just one critique, 646. 646, send me a text message for how you'd like to get paid. You are this week's $100 winner. There are no ties this week, so he gets the whole shebang. And isn't it sad that $100 just isn't what it used to be? It's like once upon a time, that was something. Now as expensive as everything is, like, man, I can hardly get 2 bags of groceries. But yeah, tell me about it, man. I mean, it's crazy how expensive they're making everything and all the excuses in the world they got for it. But anyway, shout out to 646. Last week, again, we had a 3-way tie for first place in our first week of the contest. So the winning area codes in the first ever Gematria sports competition, just the area codes that are representing the Gematria knowledge. Last week, it was a 3-way tie with 954, 347, and 513. And this week, it's the 646. And all of those area codes are pretty east, aren't they? So the East Coast getting it done. What happened to the West is the best. Come on, West Coast. So anyway, congrats, 646. Whenever you see this, just send me a text message with how you'd like to get paid and what your handle is. Just write like PayPal this, CashApp this, VenMo that. You are this week's winner, and tomorrow, Monday, we start our new competition. So it's a weekly competition. Right now, it's a $100 giveaway. Since I started the competition, I swear to God, they mess with us. My subscriptions are way down. I'm like, man, subscriptions are down and giving money away. This is bad. But no, if you guys want to join and be part of the competition, If we can get more support, we can make the stakes higher as well. But a little friendly competition and a chance to win $100 each week. So 646, you got it done. And by the way, just for the people this week who gave up after only putting 4 picks in, some of you guys could have won. Again, don't give it. It's not over till it's over. Don't give up early. You could have hit a big one. So shout out to Itachi. Itachi was runner up this week. Itachi was swinging for the fences all week. He did smack some big ones this week, but the tried and true method, just staying steady, won the race. The old story of the tortoise and the hare. So 646, let me know when you get this. I'll be looking for your text message. If you want to wait till tomorrow's show Monday, that's fine too. Sorry, he's on the East Coast and it is late. I meant to do this hours ago, but like I said, we've been without power here. Supposedly our city's power supply got cut off by the Bonneville Dam. That's a dam on the Columbia River out here between Oregon and Washington. But somehow between the power companies, something went off. I don't know. Strange. So yeah, with the week 2 winner out of the way, and next Sunday night we'll announce the week 3 winner. It could be you. Again, to compete, you do got to be on the Patreon. And to sign up for Patreon, you have to sign up through the Patreon. You can't send me money in the P.O. box and say, hey, can you... Well, I guess I could create an account for somebody. But it's better if you just sign up for your own account. Anyhow, let's talk about some other things. Since this is a sports show, big news in Canada. Canada's national sport, hockey. Edmonton Oilers in the Stanley Cup. We said at the beginning of this playoffs, a Canadian team was definitely going to be in the Stanley Cup this year, and the teams that made the most sense were either the Vancouver Canucks or the Edmonton Oilers, and we knew they'd have to play each other, so it was going to be the winner of that series. And the thing for Edmonton, they had the great one play for them, Wayne Gretzky. And Edmonton this year began the playoffs playing that other Wayne Gretzky team, the Los Angeles Kings. And that's who Edmonton beat in the first round. And then they played Vancouver in the second round and went to Game 7. And now they knock out Dallas tonight to face Florida, the Panthers in the Stanley Cup. And there's something I like a whole lot about this Edmonton versus Florida matchup. We've been eyeballing how this could play out. Yesterday when Florida knocked out the Rangers, the Rangers coach stayed on, I got to double check, I think 65 postseason wins. Team might have stayed on 65 wins for the year. Rangers or Florida became 6-5 versus the Rangers for the year. Florida has that gematria 65. And Edmonton, I'll just say this, they're on 61 wins going into the Stanley Cup. But you guys might remember, back when I was on my super hot streak with futures in 2016 into 2017, what blew up the hot streak was, and this is back when I did everything for free and I didn't have a Patreon and I just put it all out there. But you just get to see the way the world works. I nailed so many great predictions, and very specific too. Not just getting both teams right, but having very specific things right about these championships. Just like our call on the Super Bowl this year. I mean, go watch my call on the Super Bowl. I pointed out how they had the 49ers take the field 19 minutes after the hour, led out by Deebo Samuel, number 19. We were thinking the Chiefs were going to become the first team to go back-to-back in 19 years. Joe Montana, number 19. Of course, the game ends up going to overtime 19-19, and McCole Hardman catches his 19th career touchdown. But we're talking about how that game was going to be all about 19 for a long, long time. Joe Montana, 67 years old at the time, the 19th prime. The way they sync up these sports teams with their former stars. Again, the Oilers won the Stanley Cup with Wayne Gretzky. But hold on, I was going back to the point. So I was confident in 2017 that a Canadian team was going to win the Stanley Cup. And the reason I thought that was going to happen is because I thought Canada was going to end the 24-year drought. Canada has not won the Stanley Cup since 1993, and Canada equals 24 in gematria. The leading Canadian team with Stanley Cup wins is Montreal. They've won 24. This year's Stanley Cup starts exactly 24 weeks after Justin Trudeau's birthday, the Jesuit prime minister of the country. Again, the Jesuits are the ones who do all the scripting. For anyone out there saying who's rigging it, the Jesuits, they're rigging it all, man. It's beyond. It's undeniable once you know what you're looking at. But Canada equates to 24. I thought they were going to end a 24-year drought in 2017. They didn't. And I said back then, I said, well, maybe they got to wait until 2024. The word hockey equals 31. The word Canada equals 24. It's been 31 years now since they won the Stanley Cup. So we'll see what happens. Florida could still spoil Canada's hopes. And then if that happens, I don't know how long Canada's got to wait. But this whole thing has been synced with Wayne Gretzky. You know how Dallas, Texas equals 118 in Gematria? The series with the Oilers in Dallas began 118 days after Wayne Gretzky's birthday. And again, Dallas making it to both conference championships. This was the first ever year that the NBA and NHL playoffs began on the same day. Dallas beat Minnesota in the NBA conference finals after Minnesota advanced to a place they haven't been many times before on Kevin Garnett's birthday. Again, former players and rituals is the point I'm trying to make because we're always talking about the same things. But, oh boy, I lost my train of thought for a second. Oh yeah, the series also began on the 144th day of the year between the Oilers and Dallas. Wayne Gretzky equals 144. Wayne Gretzky 144. I meant to say, when I was wrong about Canada winning the Stanley Cup in 2017, I had so many haters just attacking, and I was like, so these people have been watching my channel and seen all the things we got right, and now that we got something wrong, they got all this to say? That's the way people are, though. People are a joke. Again, that's why dumb people, they don't understand what we're doing here. Just there's a lot of dumb people. Anyway, coming back to this. Okay, so let's go Edmonton. But baseball. You know, I've been showing you how this entire MLB season is synced with Steve Garvey. Again, if you guys have not been following, Steve Garvey played for the Dodgers and the Padres, and they've literally synced up the entire season with Steve Garvey. It's why the Dodgers and Padres opened the year a week before everyone else. It's why they had the first spring training game where the Dodgers beat the Padres 14-1 for the first game of the Dodgers' 141st season. 14-1, 141. Well, look at this. How many times have I taught you guys about Colorado in 38? And understand, once upon a time, I used to say, if you ever had to bet the house on something, bet it on a Colorado 38. Just so you know, in the last about year and a half, that's no longer true. It's still a good winning pattern. It still comes through 70% of the time. It's just for the longest time, it was like practically perfect. It like almost never failed. And 70% is not a bad winning pattern, but it's nowhere near perfect like it used to be. Anyhow, I want you to see what the Dodgers did today, getting their 38th win over Colorado, the 38th state, 163 days after Steve Garvey's birthday, the 38th prime number, when he's running for federal office in D.C. on the 38th parallel north, where 38's no slouch of a number. By the way, so many special and deadly words equal 38. Fire's one of them. The wildfire that broke out in California broke out exactly 38 weeks after the state's birthday on September 9th. But look at this with Steve Garvey. Steve Garvey, right here. Born December 22nd, 1948. 75 years old. Today's 163 days after his birthday, the 38th prime. Dodgers beat the Rockies, division rival, give them the 38th win. The 38th win, okay? And if you're new here, in Gematria, Colorado Rockies equals 163 with the alphabetic order. ABC is 1, 2, 3. It's 163 days after Garvey's birthday. And with the alphabetic order in numerology, Colorado's 38. 38th state. Remember, the word election equals 38. Garvey's running for federal office. He's running to replace Dianne Feinstein as senator in California. You guys might recall when Trump was removed from the ballot in Colorado, I said, all right, here we come up. We're coming up 38 weeks from the election, and boom, just like that, on the 38th day of the year, the headline became Supreme Court going to look at Trump being removed on Colorado ballot. And then, again, that was 38 weeks from the election. You see what I mean? DC's on the 38th parallel north. Look at these words that are 38 in that cipher. Gematria. You know, that's the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. Gematria is 38. English is 38. This is no slouch of a number is the point I'm making. English is 38. Energy is 38. Do you remember how Oregon's one of the 38 states as well? Oregon on March 8th this year the governor announced that they're ending the legalization of fentanyl, which has the 38 connection because so many people were dying in Oregon. And keep in mind, March 8th this year, the day that the Oregon governor did that, that was the 68th day of the year. Her name equals 68 in Gematria. Fentanyl was approved by the FDA in 68. Again, this stuff goes beyond sports. But the point is, you learn the knowledge. By the way, LA equals 4. They win 4-0 on the shutout. But you learn this knowledge you just see through the sports games and the news, and you see how it's all scripted together. You know how I'm always teaching you about the Giants in 25? We just had a nice sweep on that Yankees-Giants series. You know how they have this interleague play going like crazy this year? You look at teams' interleague records, most teams have played each other at least around 20 or so times if they're AL and NL at this day and age with the interleague play going on for the last decade or so. What blew me away is the Giants and Yankees have hardly played each other at all. I didn't realize this until this series. I was like, that's weird. They've played each other way less than almost everybody else in interleague play, even though the Giants used to be in New York. So coming into this series, the Giants were 2-4 at home versus the Yankees all time. Now, I'm always telling you guys, Giants in 25. I was telling you the other week, it's been like just dynamite. So game 1, Giants lose to Yankees, fall to 2-5 at home. They also fell to 2-5 versus the AL for the year. So this went through the whole series. Yankees, whoops, I wrote Tankies. So if you got a serious list, they're the Tankies, but otherwise they're the Yankees, which has the Gematria 26. So in game 2, which was June 1st, the first day of the 6th month, which also had 6 date numerology the way it fell this year, 6 plus 1 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4 is 15. 15 is 1 plus 5 is 6. So June 1st, the first day of the 6th month, had 6 date numerology. The Giants fell to 2-6 versus the AL and 2-6 at home all time versus the Yankees. And then today had 7 date numerology, and they fell to 2-7. And that's just a big baseball number, period, 27. But nice little sweep. It's always nice when you get all 3 games right in the series. Not always the easiest thing to do. But there's a lot more I want to say about the baseball games. We didn't have the greatest day in baseball. We had a real nice week, but I actually had a more disappointing Sunday. Very 50-50. Unless you stuck to the strongest narratives, you did all right. But I'll tell you what game hurt a lot of people today. This is where sometimes you get the rug pulled out from under you. Cleveland is the 216 area code, and 216 plays hard in Cleveland. Nationals did have some numbers to win today. I thought they were worth a dollar parlay. But had Cleveland won, they would have been 21-6 at home, like 216. Had that game come in today, a lot of people would have had a nice payday. And that's why I teach you all to play low wager, potential big payout, just putting nice little parlays together, smart picks. And I heard from a lot of people today, I cannot believe the Guardians didn't hit the 216. And I'm saying the same thing. Sometimes the very consistent patterns, that's the thing, just in recent years, you know, just like how 38 used to be perfect in Colorado and now it's not anymore. There's still good winning patterns, but like nothing is as good as it used to be. So anyhow, things we've been talking about forever and ever. When I do these free streams open to the public, I just like to come back to certain numbers and some certain patterns because they're happening all the time, like Colorado in 38 and Giants in 25. And just go back and watch the streams I've done open community, just telling you the same things over and over. And, you know, if you pay attention enough, I'll talk about how San Francisco loves 75 as well. You see how the score was 7-5 in the Giants-Yankees game? San Francisco Giants equals 75. And the bigger connection is the 49ers won the 75th on NFL season and the Warriors won the 75th anniversary season. And remember, the Warriors became 7-5 in finals and they beat Boston on their home court, giving Boston their 75th home loss in the playoffs all time. And they'd played on the Pope's birthday. The Warriors and Boston that year. And the Warriors won in Boston on the Pope's birthday. And again, Boston fell to 7-5 at home in that game. That was on December 17th, near the start of the year. But remember, the Celtics fell to 17-5. 17-5, the Celtics fell to in finals versus Golden State 175, and it was all synced up with the old Pope, like the whole calendar is synced up with the Pope. And like I said, it's the Jesuits that run all this. We're in the time of the first Jesuit Pope. A lot of big rituals with the Pope in sports and in other things. So, yeah. Again, if you missed my work on Bill Walton's death, Bill Walton again, you guys, he played for the Celtics and he played for UCLA, right? And he was on that UCLA team that had the perfect season in 71-72. But you see how Celtics is 71-26 and UCLA is 71-26. Bill Walton played for UCLA in college, finished his career at the Celtics, finished in 87, by the way, and his name equals 87, and Pope's 87 right now, and Catholic 71. Remember, the war in Israel began 71 days from the Pope's birthday on Putin's 71st birthday. Again, this number is bigger than UCLA and Celtics is the point, but it connects here. But both teams have the 71-26. Notice Cancer also has the 26. And notice Pacers also has the 26. We saw out of the gate how there was a real narrative for Carlisle, who used to play for the Celtics, who coaches the Pacers, to get swept because he stayed on 71 postseason wins all time, and he fell to 26-26 in the postseason with the Pacers. And, you know, Larry Bird being compared to Luka Doncic. A lot of focus on Indiana in sports. Bob Knight died right at the start of the NBA season. Larry Bird from Indiana. Bob Knight coached in Indiana. Larry Bird made his name with the Celtics. Caitlin Clark. If you guys missed it, Caitlin Clark made her WNBA debut with the her WNBA debut with the Indiana Fever 113 days after her birthday. You see how Caitlin Clark's 113, just like the National Basketball Association. Again, none of these things are an accident. Manchurians all over the place, people born and bred to be, people with storylines written around them before they even got to the league. You know, she's like the chosen actor for the script, the chosen actress. But yeah, if you're out there 646, again, congrats. You are this week's winner. And again, if you'd like to join us for the Week 3 contest, you're going to want to call in tomorrow. The live stream starts at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 Eastern. And if you call at the beginning of the stream, you're very, very likely going to be in the contest. If you've watched the last 2 weeks, we had to stream for over an hour before we got enough people who wanted to compete for the week. And again, I just want to say to next week's contestants, make sure you put in all 5 of your picks. In the last 2 weeks, there's been several people who gave up before the week was over. Again, pick a nice prop bet for the day. If it's a nice prop bet within the realm of possibility and it came in, you could end up winning, only having one correct pick in the week. But you might as well take the shot. It's just, to me, it's a mentality thing. You should never give up on something. You should see it through. You know, if you put in all 5 picks and you didn't win, then you didn't win. But if you only put in 4 picks and didn't even put in your 5th pick, really, you'll never know. You could have won that contest. So it applies to more in the game. I just think it's a mentality to have in life. Like, don't give up on things. See it through. You know, don't get down just because things haven't gone as great as you wanted them to so far. But remember, they started the NBA and NHL playoffs on the same day for the first time ever, and it was April 20th, which was the 111th day of the leap year, and New York equals 111, and New York teams exceeded expectations this year, and the Knicks scored 111 on that opening day of the NBA and NHL playoffs. You look at how they only have it so you can almost see another number, but there's only one number you can see all the way unobstructed on the Florida side. It's funny that it's 62, and then today, June 2nd, the finals are all the way set. Oh, by the way, here, let's do something so you don't have to take my word for it. I'm going to pull up the NBA playoff bracket, and I want you to see that the NBA finals were set in the 77th game of the playoffs. Of course, Luka Doncic is number 77, the star of the Mavericks, who's allowed to carry the ball all over the court. Otherwise, he would not be able to handle it. But he's going to face Boston, and they're comparing him to Larry Bird. Boston's got that 77. Today, that when the Tigers beat Boston, they became 7-7 versus the East. And If that's the narrative you took today in baseball, way to put on your thinking cap. I was doubting that for some reason. I shouldn't have, especially with the finals, because normally all the sports are connected. Sometimes, yeah, gotta trust the spidey senses. But anyway, Boston 77 finals set in 77th playoff game, and again the Celtics advanced on the day Bill Walton died at 71. But check this out. Let's add it up. Oklahoma City swept the Pelicans 4-0. Mavericks beat the Clippers 4-2. So we have an 8-2 record so far. Timberwolves swept the Suns. That's 12-2. Nuggets beat the Lakers 4-1. That's 16-3. So there's 19 games played in the opening round. 19 games in the opening round for the West. Okay. 6 more games were played between the Dallas and Thunder. We're up to 25. 5 more were played between the Mavs and Timberwolves. That's 30. 5 more were played between the Timberwolves and Nuggets. That's 35. 35 games in the West. Now in the East, Boston beat Miami 4-1, just like how they got their 41st win against them the day of the Super Bowl. All right, 4-1. Cavs and Magic, 4-3, 7-game series. We thought that one would go to 7. That series was great for us. We smashed that series. So that's 12 games played on this side. 5 plus 7, 12. Another 6 games in the Bucks Pacers. What killed me is we thought the Pacers and Knicks would meet in the second round, so we had both those series right. And I was looking at the 99 NBA playoffs because there was this huge 99 theme. In 99, the Knicks beat the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. In the 99-2000 season, the Pacers beat the Knicks. That series began 47 days after Spike Lee's birthday. Indiana equals 47. And the coach of the Knicks, Thibodeau, ended up getting his 47th loss, getting eliminated by Indiana. That was the one scare we thought for the Knicks. Was like, it's interesting how they lined it up with Spike Lee. All right, but hold on. Quick count again. Here, I'm counting from top to bottom. 5 games Celtics Heat. 7 games Cavs Magic. That's 12. 6 games Bucks Pacers. That's 18. 6 games Knicks 76ers. That's 24. Pacers Knicks. That's another 7 games. That's 31. Celtics sweep Pacers. That's 4 more. 35. Celtics, Cavs, 5 more games, 40. Hold on. Am I doing late night? I'm doing some late night bad math. Hold on. Let me count in my head real quick. 40. Hold on. I counted wrong on one of these sides. 4, 10, 14, 19. All right, there's 37 games on the West side, 40 on the East. Yeah, I did some funky math a second ago. 37 games in the West, 40 in the East, 77 total. So if you want to count it up, just look up the 2024 bracket. But yeah, 37 in the West, 40 in the East. 4, 10, 14, 19, 25, 30, 37. 5, 12, 18, 24, 31, 35, 40. Yeah, the 77th game. So hold on. Now to get to the climax, this is the 78th NBA season, right? And again, we hit another big future this year. We said the most likely team to be in the finals this year is the Boston Celtics. I didn't mean to write out NBA season. I meant to write out NBA finals. Remember, NBA finals is 78, but this year's literally the 78th season. There's 3 teams in the whole league that have a 78 connection, but only one with the full name, and that's the Boston Celtics. They are the only team whose full name equals 78. Boston Celtics 78. All 3 teams with a 78 connection made it to the playoffs. Cleveland, they're all in the East. Cleveland is 78. And Cleveland in the Orlando series, I want to say Orlando got their 78th postseason loss all time, losing to Cleveland in that first round. Pretty sure that's what it was. New York, Cleveland, and Boston Celtics, all in the East, but only one team with the full name, Boston. And we said they make the most sense to be there. And look at Boston Celtics establishment date. Look at it. It is Game 1 of the NBA Finals, June 6th. The Celtics are going to turn 78 years old, June 6, 1946. And remember, you guys, Bill Walton, who just died. His birthday is November 5th, the day of the election. Joe Biden's Secret Service name is Celtic. The day that Joe Biden announced he was running for president was the day John Havlicek died, the famous Celtic, number 17, who died 17 days after his birthday. And you know what else is weird? RFK died on June 6th in history. RFK died on the 22nd anniversary of the Celtics. Boston equals 22 like basketball. RFK died June 6, 1968, the day the Celtics turned 22. Remember, the day Joe Biden was born was the day that RFK turned 17. So there's something deeper going on here because, again, you have RFK. Remember this. RFK died at 1:44 in the morning. JFK died 144 days from meeting with the Pope. And he lost his infant child a few months before he died on August 9th, the day leaving 144 days left in the year. RFK Jr. got in this presidential race 144 days after the Superior General's birthday. The election's 144 days after Trump's birthday. And in Gematria, President Biden equals 144. And remember, Georgetown simulated that Biden would beat Trump in 2020, June 12th, 144 days before the election. So, again, sports, politics, news, all scripted together. And there's so many different ways that you can point to the proof of the script. Learn this little Kabbalistic code of ABC 1, 2, 3. You can see how they line it up day after day. And just like we teach year after year, the ritual sacrifices at the time of the championships. Right after Bill Walton dies. Then who dies? Aaron Gordon's brother dies. And he played at UCLA like Bill Walton, and he died in Oregon at age 33. Oregon's the 33rd state. Bill Walton won the Blazers in Oregon, their only championship. Drew Gordon dead at 33 in the 33rd state. And nobody sent me the clip, but I had multiple people say that they announced that in the game, the Mavs game, where they closed out and set the finals. See, this is the thing about the NBA finals being set and a former player being dead. And keep in mind that former player did play for Philadelphia in the NBA, and the first pro championship was won by Philadelphia. But NBA finals has that 33 connection too. So right as the finals are set, Boston, Dallas, the announcement of the death of a 33-year-old former player whose brother's a big star in the league, and his brother plays for one of the teams that has the 33 connections. The teams with 33 connections: Magic, Nuggets, New York. I feel like I'm forgetting one. Spurs. And the Spurs Nuggets join the NBA together. Nuggets win the championship. Spurs get the first pick as the Nuggets win their first championship. They get the... That guy needs what should Wemby's nickname be? Every time I see him, I just want to call him Stretch because he's just so long. It's just like ridiculously long. Just don't ask him to throw out the first pitch. Whew. So, let's see. 646. Let me make sure I got the phone line open here. I was hoping 646 would be up, but I did start late. Again, we had a power outage out here. Looks like we still don't have a message from 646. But we'll get him tomorrow. 646 was our winner if you got here late. And tomorrow, Week 3 contest begins. Soldier Field says, the only thing I gave up was watching sports. Well, again, not a bad thing to give up at all. Reclaim your life instead of sitting on your ass watching these guys play in the predetermined outcomes. Yeah, the athleticism is real. It can be entertaining to watch the athleticism. It can be entertaining to watch Anthony Edwards soar, above the basketball hoop and be like, damn, I wish I could have jumped like that. I would have been in the league too. But, yeah, in reality, you should be using that time to, so many other things. Advance yourself in some way. That's the whole thing. You have a whole society of people who've stopped trying to advance themselves or learn anything since they got out of high school, and they just spent all of their adult life being entertained and working. And you kind of see the downside of that. So, society that's being mocked every day. Shout out to John Mendoza. Appreciate it, John. Thanks for the tip. All right. Be careful how you phrase things in the chat. I don't think you meant that the way you did, but anyway, I just put my eyes on the chat. Shout out to John. He says, I stopped watching the NFL around 2017. Then Brady got signed to the Bucks. The programming was real. Yeah, Brady for Super Bowl 55. Every Tampa team in a pro sports championship once Brady goes to Tampa. Who would have thunk it? All right, guys. Well, we will leave it there. Again, congrats to the winners. And see if Canada's glory can be restored. 31-year drought. Good, you guys. If you guys we talk about the 4 base ciphers, alphabetic order, forwards and backwards with numerology. Canada has the 24 and the most simple cipher. If you guys weren't here when I first started the work, I only had these 2 ciphers in the first 3 years of the research: alphabetic order and alphabetic order with numerology. And then we realized the reverse and the reverse of numerology was the other half of the code. But Canada's got the 24, hockey's got the 31, and again, what are the odds that it's 2024 and it's been 31 years? What are the odds? All right, you guys, we'll leave it there. We'll be back next Sunday to talk about the winner of the Week 3 contest. And, of course, next Monday we'll be starting Week 4. But if you'd like to participate, you got to be on the live streaming tier on Patreon if you want to participate. And that's the $11 a month tier. It gets you all of the live streams. We stream at least Monday through Friday every week, often on the weekends as well. And you get all the written content as well. The $5 tier gets you all the written content, but not the live streams. But you still get all the written content every single day. And yeah, they're both a great value. You get a lot of work and labor for a very low price, and the knowledge can be quite lucrative. So yeah. There's always big rituals on June 24th, no doubt about it. Roe versus Wade overturning, the Miami building collapse. June 24th is a day to dates, indeed. Oh, here, I'll tell you one more thing. The Deontay Wilder boxing match. So I have not been decoding fights in a long time, and it was the 3rd fight we've decoded in the last month and a half, last 2 months. The two fights we decoded before Deontay Wilder was Ryan Garcia's upset. We like Garcia upset. That was a nice one because that paid 5-1. He had the 420 special ritual. And then we just like the Usyk Ukrainian guy to beat Tyson Fury. Again, that fight was on the 139th day of the year, which is the 34th prime. Ukraine equals 34, and Fury stayed on 34 wins. Plus, there was a little bit more to it. Tonight's fight, or not tonight's fight, but the fight yesterday between the 41-year-old Chinaman and Deontay Wilder, where if he said he lost, it would be the end of his career possibly. That was the one thing that stood out, but I couldn't pull the trigger on this week's fight. I did say this stood out a lot. His last fight was December 23rd, Deontay Wilder. Both of these fighters who fought, they both had fought a Samoan dude, Joseph something, and they both lost to him. And now they're fighting each other. But Deontay Wilder lost December 23rd, and then he had this fight 23 weeks later. And then by him losing this fight, he fell to 1-4 in his last 5 fights. And he said before the fight that if he loses, this will probably be the end. So what's funny is he lost in the 5th round, Wilder. And we'll see. Does he stay gone? Does he say this is the end of his career? But he had the end number. So that did stand out. We're like, well, But in a way, I felt like the reason I was torn, I was like, but if he doesn't lose, then the end thing doesn't have to matter. It was hard to say for sure if he was going to end his career at 38. A lot of guys are just going deeper and deeper into their careers in a lot of sports, and some fighters have historically, he could come out of retirement someday too. I mean, we've seen guys come out of retirement, but anyway, he lost in the fifth round yesterday. So the fifth round was the 179th round of his career. The 179th round of his career. That's the 41st prime number, and he loses to the 41-year-old fighter. And did you see how much money China just bought of U.S. treasuries? It's a huge headline that they just bought this huge, overwhelming amount of U.S. treasuries in the headline at the same time. And that's the thing I was saying too, is like, I haven't been to quite that many fights, but I can't ever think of like a big fight in my lifetime where it was like an American star boxer fighting a guy from China. I couldn't place it. So that was everything that was weirding me out too. And the 41-year-old Chinaman beats the USA star boxer as China makes this huge investment, essentially in bonds, which is like buying up essentially a greater percentage of the country. I don't think that's an accident. I don't think it's an accident at all. Mm-mm. But yeah, so hey, we didn't take a loss or anything. I just told people I was torn. So the end thing could make sense, but I just don't know if this is really going to be the end of his career. So anyway. Humanity and slaves. Let's keep doing the fights. Did you take the Deontay Wilder end narrative? I told people, I said, those of you guys who watch fighting and boxing, you might have a better feel for it. Remember when Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder, and he's gone 1-4 since Wilder? That was a huge 42 ritual. We definitely had that fight right. Back around the time that Kobe died. R.I.P. Yeah, that's yeah. In light of all the 45 stuff going on, indeed. Indeed. And then Donald Trump, number 45, putting out his own Holy Bible this year. All right, we'll leave it there. Tomorrow I'll do a stream on the news channel and cover the things I wanted to cover today, but power outage out here screwed up today for us. So I'm glad we got power back on tonight. For a minute, I was like, oh, 1,229 days after Biden took office. It's funny how it worked out that way. The Masonic building here is at the address 1229. I'm like, are towns without power all this time on this day? What's going on? All right. But yeah, man, power's out. You start to worry about things. You're like, damn, is all the food going to go bad in the freezer? Food's expensive. That's why they got us in a bad spot, you guys. They got us in a bad spot. These powers that shouldn't be manipulating all these things, and they got a million excuses for oh, that was because of the pandemic. Oh, that was because of the war with Ukraine. Oh, yeah. It's like, nah, man, all this stuff's being manipulated. For those of you guys in fire, those of you guys in Tracy, here, I'll show you one more thing about that. The town of Tracy was evacuated in California for the fire that started exactly 38 weeks after the state's September 9th birthday. Look at how Tracy overlaps. You see, fire's 38, of course, but you see how Tracy, if I can spell it, Tracy, 67, 22, 68, 38, 32. It's the exact same in all four ciphers with arson. Arson, exact same thing. And go back and look at that California Masonic fire from years ago that burned up 38 acres. This fire today is way bigger than that. They said over 14,000 acres. The name of that county that's burning up equals 87, like how old the Pope is right now. Pope's real big on the climate change agenda. Agenda 2030. Merged with Klaus Schwab's "You'll own nothing and be happy," as they destroy everybody's car in Colorado with baseball-size hail. I can't imagine how many claims there are in Colorado for car damage. Just people's cars all dented up, windows busted out. Homes got ransacked too. Some homes, wind blowing big old chunks of ice into the house. And that's why everybody's rates are up, because all these crazy things that are not Mother Nature, but Again, that same old weather warfare that was first admitted to back on August 15th, 1952. Weather warfare is over 70 years old, you guys. Imagine some psychopaths owned your central bank and had the keys to your military and used technology against your own nation because you wanted to make it so you'll own nothing and be happy. Again, if insurance rates continue to climb at the rates they've been climbing and just everything continues to climb as it's been climbing, right now they're starting to say maybe they won't be able to cut interest rates this year. And in a way, interest rates are like probably where they should be. It's just forever we were used to them being at zero because it was like that for the last 20 years artificially. But they're just making everything so expensive at once. I feel bad for younger people, man. It's like when I was a kid, I could pay my car insurance and gas. Gas was $1 a gallon. Car insurance wasn't that bad. My nephew, he just told me how much he paid a few months ago, and I was like, "Oh, you're getting screwed, man." I started looking into it. I was like, "What the hell? This is a good rate for him?" It's like paying $2,500 a year in car insurance. I thought that sounded insane. And then I found out that was a low rate for his age group. Some people are paying like 5 Gs. God, who can afford to pay $5,000 a year in car insurance? What? Young people can't afford to drive because of this. So, yeah, I sympathize with the young people. And again, that's why I've always spent all this time here speaking out. Again, my work's always been about getting people to see how rigged the game is and where they're taking society. All their little planned out agendas that they've had written down in stone, literally in the Georgia Guidestones, agreements from the beginning of the 90s with Agenda 21 and 2030 that was added on to back in 2015 when they added Agenda 2030 onto 2021, or Agenda 21 for the 21st century. And again, people need to understand the cabal, man. They write things that sound nice, but these people are devious. When they say eliminate all world poverty by this year, they're not talking about like bringing up the quality of life for these poor people. They're talking about getting rid of these people like they're cockroaches. It's how the world elite look at us. So anyway, I'm getting off tangent, but yeah, big news stuff, big sports stuff. If you got here late, feel free to rewind. And if you are the winner in the 646, send me your credentials and I will send you your payment. And again, tomorrow, call in early in the show Monday, get in the contest, and join the other area codes. See how many area codes we have as winners before we get a repeat. All right, you guys, we'll leave it there. And until next time.